it's my way of showing people that even with a learning disability, I can still overcome controversy and reach my goals in life. At the same time, turning myself into a perfect example for people out there, deaf, blind, or in a wheelchair. You should never label yourself or have people label you, and you should prove to them you can still amount to something. And it's all about making a statement and proving people wrong. Now, with that being said, just half-hour conversation. You can say anything you want, curse if you want to. Completely whatever you want to do.
Okay.
So starting off, I see you own your own company. How did that come about? And what is your company about?
I am the owner of Strategic Entertainment. Our website is strategicentertainmentnyc.com, and I refer to it as the world's smallest production company, offering creative services, including talent, writing, show direction, conceptualizing, and execution. Some of our clients are the Tribeca Film Festival, the World Science Festival, Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney World, SeaWorld, the Civic Builders. We have a good client list. We have a 3D printer experience. We have a lot of good clients. So very happy with where the company is. And it started, I was a full-time Disney cast member for about 12 years. And oddly enough, I got hit by a truck. And while I was out on my bicycle, I got hit by a hit-and-run trucker. And I broke my pelvis, my shoulder was broken, I couldn't walk for several months. And I had a long time to think about what I wanted to do and what my regrets would have been had my injuries been more permanent. And I'd always told myself I was going to move to New York, so I moved to New York and started my production company. Luckily, with Disney's support, they were one of my first clients, and it grew from there.
Oh, that's really cool. What can you give us an example of what you do and what you offer?
Sure. The Tribeca Film Festival, we make contributions to the Family Festival, which is the closing festival of the Tribeca Film Festival. And during that event, we have usually at least 5 live stages that have professional entertainment, film discussions, school groups, and it's about a 12-hour event, and I write all the scripting for it and provide all of the MCs and help conceptualize what's going to be going on the stage with an old friend from Disney named Peter Downing, with whom I still work. During the World Science Festival, we do very similar work, and then with Disney Cruise Line, we help with all of the adult and family activities and the youth activities on the entire fleet. I also produce a show called Broadway's Next Hit Musical, which kind of goes my roots, which is improvisational comedy. And it's a fully improvised award show that tours the United States. And I still appear in that as the MC of the show, and then I'm one of the co-producers with my co-producers Ralph Buckley, Deborah Bai, and Rob Schiffman.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Now, what exactly does your company, stand for, and what do you offer people?
Well, I think the company, one of the reasons we called it Strategic Entertainment is we like to help our clients make good decisions in whatever circumstances they find themselves in, and to maximize creativity while keeping the event affordable. We like to make sure that our clients' money is used in a way that the audience sees. So we don't want to waste a lot of money. We want to make efficient choices, and we want to be as low maintenance as possible for our clients. What I always tell the actors and our clients is that we are always going to be part of the solution. We are never going to present the problem.
All right. Like, for a perfect example, say if we wanted to work together, what would you offer the talk show? What would the ideas be?
Well, I have a very good graphic designer on my staff named Daniel Holmes, so we would probably start by talking about the feel and the look that you wanted the show to have, and we would design some kind of look that was consistent with the production values of the show. We would talk to you about how to maximize the production values as affordably and as efficiently as possible in a way that supports the overall experience, trying to create seamless experiences where everything is integrated. I'd be able to give you feedback on your interviewing style, or here's an opportunity you missed, or way to maximize that question. Talk about energy and hopefully help market and position it in a way that maximizes the opportunity for us and you.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I look forward to it. After the show, I do have a couple ideas for you.
Cool.
Now, the next question I was getting...
I feel very...
No,
go ahead.
No, it's fine. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, that's fine. What was your question?
Actually, I forgot what it was.
Well, I was just going to say, I think a lot of times we're brought in to maximize the potential of the events that we're working for, to see how else the resources that the client already has can be maximized.
All right. Well, I do have a question. Do you think what I'm doing would be, if I was interested in going to Comic-Con, do you think what I'm doing would be something they would be interested in, or I have to wait till I get bigger than Comic-Con would be interested?
I might start out a little smaller, just so that you're not putting all of your eggs in one basket. Maybe go to some community outreach programs. Develop your talking points in front of a smaller crowd before you take on such a major event as Comic-Con. And also with Comic-Con, it's an awesome event, but people have such specific agendas that it would probably be nice for you to build a little more momentum before you went to an event like that. I think it's totally a place you could position yourself, but you might want to build to not get lost in the fray. Does that make sense?
No, it does. I'm always looking for, I was going to say I'm looking for an agent or a representative, but does your company do that, or you don't do that?
No, we don't really do that. As a matter of fact, we have agents that work for us on behalf of finding us work. As far as agents go, your message is so powerful and so well placed, and I respect your ambition around it so much that you might want to look for someone who has specialized in similar messaging in the past, because they probably have developed some contacts that would be very helpful for you.
All right, that's another idea we can talk about after the show. Now, do you have any questions you want to ask me, or you mentioned you are an actor? How many?
Yeah. My family. When you talk about your goals, I find them very inspirational. My youngest brother and my youngest sister, I'm from a big family. My youngest brother and sister are both dealing with some challenges, and it's very inspiring. So what inspired you to start this project? What was the moment where you thought, that's what I'm going to do?
Well, basically, do you want the long story or you want the short story?
Let's start with the short story and see where it takes us.
Well, basically, I worked in retail for about 4 or 5 years. And basically, I worked for this store. They hired me knowing the fact that I had a learning disability. They didn't like the fact that I had a learning disability. So they wanted to force me out. So basically, they told this girl to flirt with me. And basically, long story short, it was all the BS and everything. That fucked up my health, and I developed severe panic attacks, and bad enough I had social anxiety, and that's one reason I'm doing the show, to get over that. But this cost me a lot of health problems, and at the same time, my sister, my brother were writing their own books, they're doing their own thing, and I'm just sitting here, and it's like, well, I don't want to work in retail for the rest of my life. how can I mirror that or try to copy that, because for the longest time I was using my learning disability as a crutch. Can't do this, can't do that, can't go to college, and don't want to be miserable for the rest of my life. So one day I said, fuck it. I'm going to attempt to do something that, even if it backfires in my face, I can say I attempted to do something. So I created my own...
Good way of looking at it.
I created my own network, the KeithAndrewNetWork, and I started off taking some WWE, DC Comics, and Marvel videos and doing a what if, like what if Batman met the Kingpin, or I'm a big fan of Power Rangers. I did a tribute to my favorite actress, Trini, who passed away, and just a lot of pictures, just music, and it's like, oh, that's great, now people are watching it. How can I take it one step beyond that? So I came up with, doing a lot of fan-made parodies. Like when one of my friends helped me with the Dumbo Buck parodies. That's fun. They would say the lines and reenact it, and I would match them up. It's like, okay, now I'm slowly growing an audience, and now people are starting to copy that. Now how can I take a step beyond that? How can I make it more different? How can I stand out? And I was like, well, I have a learning disability. Instead of using it as a crutch, why not use it as a strength? So in 2003, I came up with my own talk show. And I messed up on my part, so it was really stupid on my part, because when I first started in 2013, actually, in 2013, it was all phone conversations. Don't ask me why, it was just phone conversations. So I interviewed people from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers actually that brings up a subject I'm going to ask you after. I interviewed people from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to Dragon Ball Z to Spider-Man to a couple New York teasers to CEOs, and they're like, why aren't you as big and wink wink bigger than you portray yourself to be? You have a great format, you're doing this, you're doing that, it's a wonderful thing. Why aren't you taking it seriously? Why aren't people taking you seriously? And they said, why don't you have any sponsors? Sponsors are like, what is your demographic? What is this? What is that? And it's like, I don't know. Okay, well, why don't you do your show over and see where you are? A year and a half later, I did it over, and I'm doing what we're doing right now, and, I thought I had a sponsor, but, I had to be paying them for their time, so that really didn't work out. But, I got up to 114 thanks to you. And, I should have been doing this from the start. That was my mistake. But, it's just taking it one step at a time.
Well, yeah, I think that's important. I don't think you can... No experience is a mistake. And it sounds like you're a good strategic thinker as well. I mean, even starting with just phone interviews. Well, had you produced a talk show before? No, you probably hadn't. So it's not a mistake. It's part of the evolution, And it's a good chance to see where you were versus where you are versus where you want to be. So it's all part of the process, And that's one of the things that I love about improvisational comedy, actually, is it's saying yes to things. It's not why something isn't going to work. It's rolling up your sleeves and making sure it does work. And I think that's always the better choice in life.
No, I appreciate it. Now, I mentioned I interviewed people from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and you said you worked for Disney. What shows have you worked for, and have you had the opportunity to meet stars from other shows?
I've worked with some celebrity talent. I started out with Disney in a show called Citizens of Hollywood, where it was at the Hollywood Studios, and it is a recreation of Hollywood in the 1940s. And during the era that I was there, a lot of the stars that were visiting the studios in the early days we always interact with. So I had a lot of old Hollywood stars. I met a lot of stars from the 90s. It was super fun. And then I moved to a place called Pleasure Island. And Pleasure Island was a series of nightclubs built on a man-made island. And I was an actor at a place called the Adventurers Club, and then I was an actor at the Comedy Warehouse. And at the Comedy Warehouse especially, they used to bring a lot of celebrity talent. So soap opera stars would come and improvise with us. Robin Williams, Bob Hope, Mary Moore, Meg Ryan, Demi Moore, or people like that. We saw a lot of stars. And then I started show directing for Disney. And that started with the opening of the Animal Kingdom in 1998. And then I moved to Super Soap Weekend and worked with everyone from ABC Daytime, which was really a lot of fun. And then I did the Super Bowl halftime show when Disney produced that in 2000. And Phil Collins was one of our musical stars, Tony Braxton, Enrique Iglesias, Christina Aguilera, Edward James Olmos. So yeah, I work with stars, but very often I work with Disney talent. So younger people and the Disney stars of tomorrow, maybe.
All right. Now, for the two shows I'm going to mention, they're supposed to be like rumored, but what is your opinion on it? Do you think turning Dumbo and Jungle Book into a live-action movie would be a smart idea, or do you think you should just leave it as a cartoon?
I think it's, well, Cinderella is being turned into a live-action film for this holiday season, and it was so successful when we've done it in the past. I loved 101 Dalmatians when we turned that into a live-action film. That I think as long as the concept is right, we could probably turn Treasure Planet into a live-action film, and it would be successful if the concept's right, if the tone's right. So, I'm all about exploring ideas, so I would never say that's a bad idea, but I guess we'll see what happens.
At the same time, I'm looking forward to the live-action Dumbo movie. I'm looking forward to seeing what the pyramid looks like. But at the same time, they're using a director from who did Iron Man. And it's kind of like, he did Iron Man and Transformers. How does that fit into Dumbo? And are you going to actually turn Dumbo into
I think he's a very good storyteller.
Right.
And I think he's also, obviously, when you look at Transformers or you look at Iron Man, he's obviously very technically savvy, right? And so the same tech savviness that went into making Iron Man fly applies to making an elephant fly. It's not like we can cast an elephant with giant ears that has the ability to fly. So, as storytellers, there are times you get limited into one genre of storytelling, and I really respect the storytellers who reinvent their skills, find new context for it, and, tell a superhero story, then tell a story about an elephant, then maybe direct a romantic comedy, Creativity is often about taking chances and exploring what you haven't had the opportunity to do before, and then perhaps taking back those lessons to creative endeavors that are in your typical scope and keeping them fresh, right? I think as a society, more and more, we demand fresh takes from our creators, our creative people. And you're not going to get those opportunities to grow if you direct Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, up to Iron Man 14 without taking a break to explore other ideas.
Now, it's funny we should be talking about Iron Man. Were you a fan of the third one, or do you think they just took a giant dump on it halfway through?
I loved Iron Man 1. I still think that's one of the best superhero movies I've ever seen. But again, it had such impact because we hadn't seen it before.
Right. So,
of course, 2 and 3 are going to be harder than 1, right? I mean, it's rare that the sequels match or are better than the first film that inspired the rest of the story. I mean, you look at Toy Story 3, I think that's an exceptional film, but it's also an exception, you know? It really maximized the fact that we knew and loved those characters, as opposed to, gosh, I'm trying to think of a sequel. Well, you know, some of the Spider-Man sequels, not amazing, right? So.
Well, are you talking about the new ones or the old ones? Because the new ones are just terrible.
I was talking more about the Tobey Maguire. I was talking about the Tobey Maguire ones, although I don't think the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man 2. I felt like I was watching a lot of story points that got developed and then were edited away. You know, I didn't care about the Green Goblin. They did nothing to make me care about that character before he became the Green Goblin. So his arc wasn't as interesting to me as I thought it could have been.
You know, when you think of Spider-Man, tell me, this is what I say about superheroes. So when you think of superheroes, you got Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, Christian Bale, Batman, Christopher Reeve, Superman, Megan Fox, I guess you can be Wonder Woman, but it depends. But, you know, there's certain people that will always be these superheroes. And, you know, I don't know Andrew Garfield. He could be a nice guy, but he's just a horrible Spider-Man. But you mentioned Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man 2. That was as good as the first one. As the third one could have been good, but the third one was just a piece of shit.
Yeah, I did not enjoy Spider-Man 3. I thought, was the villain Sandman or the Absorbing Man? It was Sandman, right?
Right.
And then Venom, which both of whom I didn't think were particularly well executed, but that's easy for me to say sitting in the theater, right? Because I wasn't on the set. I loved both of them as Spider-Man, and I collect DC comics, so I'm more excited about the Justice League film. I thought Man of Steel had some great moments. I thought Zod was really well presented. But it's exciting to see the things that have been one-dimensional and in our imagination start to move and become motion pictures, and see how other people interpret it. I mean, you know, we were talking about reinterpretation and opportunities to grow before. And I think some of the things that DC has done with the New 52, it also kind of goes to reinterpretation, which I think is cool.
And you're right.
You know, why should Superman be the same in 2014 as he was in 1944? The world's a different place, and to interpret it with a modernity, to me, makes a lot of sense. We've got to give ourselves permission to do those things.
That's true. Now, the next question I'm going to ask you is, do you think it's good to have competition? You know, you had DC versus Marvel, you had WWF versus WCW, you had Toys R Us versus KB Toys. Do you think it's always good to have competition?
I do. Number one, competition provides inspiration. Number two, autonomy can either empower or take people off of their game. And I think a little competition, as long as it's constructive, is good. It's good. It shouldn't. If you're intimidated by the competition, then you've got something to look at. You know, you've got to feel good about your own work, and you can't compare yourself. But a little competition, I don't think, ever hurt anyone. I think of myself as a very competitive person, so it doesn't bother me.
You know, I would give you a perfect example. I don't know if you're a wrestling fan or not.
A what?
A professional wrestling?
Wrestling?
Yes.
No, don't watch it.
I give you a perfect example. During the 90s, it was a great era. You had the WWF versus WCW every Monday night. You never knew what was going to happen. But now, you have the same company, WWE, competing with TNA, and first off, it's not the same because, it's a different generation. But it's kind of redundant because you get whatever you see on Monday, they're only going to copy it on their show. And whatever you see on their show, they're going to copy it. So it's like, what is this shit? You guys are just copying each other? Well, what happened to the spontaneous, to the being creative?
Yield consistent results, right? There are hacks in every industry. So there are times when competition is wonderful, and then there are just times when it's hard to support that.
All right, I'm sorry, could you repeat yourself? I was walking up.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit.
All right, well, we're wrapping up. Do you have anything you want to say to your fans and the listeners out there?
Well, if my fan is watching, thank you. And it was very nice talking to you. Good luck with the talk show, and thanks for thinking of me as a worthy guest.